Hello and welcome to Go For It. I am your host, Paul. Again, for the next hour, we're going to be talking sports and having fun doing it with all your ideas, all your opinions, and all your beliefs. And of course, as always, you will get a heavy dose of my opinion. We got a great show lined up for you today. Expected to be joined by Hall of Famer Willie Roaf. Going to talk all things NFL. Drew Brees, he's back. Is that a mistake for the Saints? We'll talk that. Hurts and Wentz, what's going on there? So we got a lot to talk about with Hall of Famer Willie Roaf. So, and there's a lot to get to. We got to talk about Giannis. He's got his new contract, Supermax, $228 million, a league record $228 million. It's a lot of money for Giannis, so we're going to talk about that. You got James Harden out there, whether it's Harden for Simmons, whether it's Harden for whatever, whoever. We got to talk about that. Obviously, it appears that he's going to be on the move. It's just all a matter of when, where, how it's all going to go down. So we got a lot to talk about. So let's start with Drew Brees. We got the situation with Drew Brees now. He will return this week against the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, at this point, you look at the New Orleans Saints, a team that lost a big game last week to the Philadelphia Eagles. A game, it's inexcusable in a lot of ways. That's a game that you have to win. You can't lose that particular game. The Saints lost a game to a team that was very beatable in the Eagles, the 3-8-1 Eagles before that game. The Eagles were not a good football team, and it was a very winnable game for the Saints. But they struggled. Taysom Hill didn't play that great, played better in the second half, but overall didn't play so well. And as a team, defensively, number one defense in football, they had some struggles. They allowed Jalen Hurts to run for 100 yards, Miles Sanders to run for 100 yards. So it was an issue for the New Orleans Saints last week against the Eagles, and ultimately it cost them the number one seed in the NFC. And here's the thing this year, which is different from other years. At this point, with the 7 playoff teams now, there's only one team that gets a bye. And at this point, it's the Green Bay Packers is the only team that will get the bye at this point if the season were to end today. So the Saints have to put themselves back in position to get the bye. And at this point, a loss, they're tied with Green Bay, but Green Bay does hold the tiebreaker advantage between the two teams. So the Saints have an issue in some respect. But here's the thing. They bring Drew Brees back. According to some reports, Diana Rossini from ESPN, she's saying that Drew Brees is around 85, 90%. He broke 11 ribs, punctured a lung, and he's 41 years old. So my thing is this. Getting that bye is important, and getting home field advantage is important. But I'm going to say this. In terms of home field advantage and what we have in terms of COVID, home field advantage may not be that much of an advantage at this point. Because at this point, you got teams that are playing in front of little to no fans. So home field advantage might not be all that important. And it could be a year where if you're healthy enough that, you can go through, and whether you have to go to Green Bay or whatever place you have to go to win, you can do it in today's NFL because home field advantage may not be that important. And because, again, little to no fans due to the COVID pandemic. So the reality of it is it's all about being healthy. And at this point, Drew Brees is supposedly 85 to 90% healthy. That's not, and they're saying he's good, he's fine, he can handle whatever he needs to handle. But he's 41 years old. And I know, at this part of the season, no one's really 100% in the NFL. But he's 41 years old. And if you want a chance to win an NFL title, if you want to win a Super Bowl this year, you need Drew Brees to be at his best. Now, maybe they said, you know what? 85, no matter how many weeks he misses, or how many weeks or how many games he sits out, he missed 4 games. No matter how many of that he does, he may not be 100%. He's not going to be 100% no matter what he does. And maybe that's the thought process with the Saints at this point in time. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. That's not going to be an easy game for this football team. But, and I know it is how important it is to get that home field advantage. But it's not going to be that important because at the end of the day, there's little to no fans. So how important is home field advantage this year? It's not that important. Now, health is important. You being as healthy as possible is important. Very important. So guys have to be as healthy as possible. You need Drew Brees to be as healthy as possible. Michael Thomas, he's going to miss the game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Ultimately, you need him to be healthy. So, again, doctors cleared him. He's cleared by the team to play. So on some level, there is a level of confidence when it comes to Drew Brees and his ability to be fine. So there is some confidence there. But if Drew Brees, goes out and gets hurt again, let's just say he busts those ribs up again, then you really have no shot. I mean, Taysom Hill, he played some good football along the way, but he wasn't very good against the Eagles. Held the ball maybe a little too long, took some maybe unnecessary sacks along the way, and, didn't play great football. He's a young quarterback, but he didn't play great football. And ultimately, it cost the Saints. And defensively, they didn't come to the party, so it cost them. So it's a difficult choice, I think, but if the Saints feel like he can protect himself and Brees feels like he can protect himself, then I get it. Go do it. But I think with a 41-year-old player, 41-year-old quarterback coming off busted ribs, 11 broken ribs to be exact, and a punctured lung, I would think you might want to be as careful as possible. That's what I would think. You would want to be as careful as possible because if you lose them, I'm not saying you're done because you have a decent defense and Taysom Hill isn't off. I'm not saying you're done, but that has a big, big impact on whether you can win a Super Bowl or get to a Super Bowl for that matter. But so we'll see what happens, but it's good. We get Brees and Mahomes. We get the guy who is the best quarterback now against one of the better quarterbacks of this generation and Drew Brees. So that's going to be fun. You got a legend in Drew Brees against a guy in Patrick Mahomes who probably will be a legend when this thing is all said and done. Patrick Mahomes is trending towards becoming a legend in terms of his career. Patrick Mahomes just does things that quarterbacks shouldn't be able to do in the National Football League. His arm strength, his ability to throw from all different types of angles, his scrambling ability. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has it all. He has it all. So Mahomes having it all and doing all the things that he does, when it's all said and done, Mahomes could be maybe the best quarterback in NFL history. I mean, he has that type of talent, that type of ability. You can say Aaron Rodgers, and yes, Aaron Rodgers is big time, and he's going to be up there as well when it's all said and done. But Patrick Mahomes, man, the guy just does some amazing things and just puts up some amazing numbers. And just a great player. So it's good that we get to see Brees against Mahomes, a legend against a soon-to-be legend, an all-time great against a soon-to-be all-time great, a Hall of Famer. And Drew Brees, he's going to be a Hall of Famer to Mahomes, who, if he keeps playing at this level, the way it's trending, he's going to be a Hall of Famer as well. So fun times. But I do think it could be a mistake bringing Brees back at this point in time. I don't think it's necessary. I don't. I think health is most important thing when it comes to this particular season. Health. And I think you need Drew Brees to be as healthy as possible. And to me, 85 to 90% at age 41, I don't know how comfortable I would be with that. But obviously they are. All parties are comfortable. Doctors are cleared them. So it's go time. And so Drew Brees is going to have to go out and perform and put some numbers up, make some plays, and hopefully the Saints, hopefully for him and the New Orleans Saints, they can win and they can continue on, maybe possibly try to get that number one spot in the NFC. Won't be easy. Packers are playing some pretty good football at this point in time, and a team that's going to be very, very difficult. Obviously, they're going to be difficult to beat in Lambeau, but again, it's not like it's the Lambeau where you got a full house of a lot of people. The cold weather is the cold weather, which obviously could be an advantage for the Packers. But again, at the end of the day, no fans, not really a home field advantage. You look at Green Bay, they got Carolina this week. They got Tennessee the following week, and they end with Chicago. Tennessee could beat them. I think they beat Carolina, and I think they handle Chicago, but it won't. Chicago will be at Chicago, and it will be a game that won't mean anything to Chicago at that point in time. But, there's a possibility that Green Bay could lose one of their final three. There's a possibility. And if that happens, the Saints would get the home field. But again, because Green Bay holds the tiebreaker with the Saints. So, but again, beating the Kansas City Chiefs won't be easy. In fact, it's going to be a struggle. With Brees, without Brees, it's going to be a struggle. So, but if you look at their remaining schedule, after Kansas City, Minnesota, they host, and then at Carolina. So if they can get by Kansas City, they can win their final two, Minnesota and Carolina, and then hope that Green Bay stumbles, again, whether Carolina this week, Tennessee the following week, or Chicago the last week of the season. That's what they can hope for. But this game, do I think an 85 to 90% Drew Brees probably gets them the best opportunity to win this game? Most definitely. And it's a game they got to get. They got to get it because their schedule looks good the rest of the way. So it's a game they got to get, and hopefully for them, Green Bay can lose. But bringing Drew Brees back, rushing him back, maybe, possibly, could be a mistake. Could be a mistake. So we got Hall of Famer Willie Roaf about to jump on in here. All right. He's a former Saint. He's a former Chief. So this is the Roaf Bowl. Willie.
How you doing?
Doing well. So Willie, we got Drew Brees will play 85 to 90%, according to ESPN. Do you think he's right?
Well, I talked to Zach Street a little while ago, and he told me he had a bruise long before, and he told me, when it first happened, that he couldn't talk. So he said he was amazed that when he got hurt, he went out there and played another series with the punctured lung and with 11 cracked ribs. He doesn't understand how he was able to do that. He did say once that injury starts healing up, it's not something that lingers. So it's not something that you're going to feel that after. He doesn't know about the ribs, but he's saying as far as the lung condition. So, obviously Drew has a high threshold for pain. He's been in the league a long time. And what I want to tell people, anybody that, I don't care what position you play, the mental approach and the physical for Drew to play football and him to be starting pretty much since he came in the league, maybe not that first year, for him to start pretty much all of his career and to be playing into his 40s, you got to be a tough SOB to be in the league that long, period.
For sure. So he's saying once it's healed, you're pretty much cool.
He said as far as he thinks with the punctured lung, he doesn't know about cracked ribs. I'll tell you this. I was blocking one time, and I was sideways, and Priest came to the hole and hit me in his helmet in my side. And after that game, I got back, and I didn't crack a rib, but I felt it. And I couldn't breathe good. I slept up a little bit the next couple of days, but, it didn't feel well. So we're talking, you got 24 ribs. He cracked, they said 11 of them.
Right.
Paul, I can't really answer that because I've never experienced that.
Right. I mean, what do you think at this point right now? Do you think 41 years old? You need him to bat his best. Obviously come playoff.
I think they're worried about Green Bay. I think they're worried about home field because if they end up with the same record, Green Bay beat them earlier this year.
Right.
So if they have the same record, Green Bay gets home field throughout. And I think that's what they're more worried about. They're more worried about getting home field throughout, not having to go up and play Lambeau in January or whatever in that weather on that grass. So I think that plays a role into it too. Historically, you look back on the Saints, they've had some tough times on the road. And to me, if you need to control the clock and you really need to pound the ball with that, who really plays better into this, especially when Michael Thomas is out? Would Taysom Hill be more of a threat because of the run and pass factor that he brings to the table than a Drew Brees against Patrick Mahomes. Because my deal is this: you got to limit Patrick Mahomes' touches on the field. So if you got to run the ball and you really need to be more run heavy, I think Taysom Hill would be more of an advantage having him at quarterback with the way he can run with Michael Thomas out. So is it gonna play? And he ain't played in 4 weeks.
Right.
So I mean, they're 3-1 with Taysom Hill. I don't know, especially with Michael Thomas being out, would it have been better for them to go with Taysom Hill in this game?
Yeah, I mean, Hill did struggle a little bit last week. Didn't play the great ball. I mean, obviously they're comfortable enough with him in terms of Brees that he's healthy. So if they feel like he's healthy and won't affect him in terms of forward, then I get why they did it.
Yeah, but last week was more both sides of the ball up front. The Eagles got after him. They didn't get any sacks. The Eagles got after him on the defensive front side too. So that was more they were going to make him throw the ball, and they got after him up front. The bottom line is they still need to run the ball. They got to keep the chains moving, and they got to control the time of possession if they want to beat Patrick Mahomes. And they got to put pressure on Mahomes with their front four. The backup right tackle's out too. So the Chiefs have their starting right tackle out and the backup right tackle out. But that kind of balances out because Michael Thomas is out again. So you got to use, they were using the other receiver the Saints were, and they got Emmanuel Sanders is going to play big, and Cooks is going to have to play big. So I think it's going to be a real good football game, and it's going to be a chess match, and it's who can get off on who. And, the Saints should be hungry because they got beat pretty good on both sides of the ball up front. Now they do have Cam Jordan going against whoever's backing up, and they got the kid on the other side who's having a career year. So Eric Fisher's back has been tight too. So it's some question marks on both sides of the ball. What to expect this time of year playing in the NFL? You're going to be dinged up. You're going to have to play through some stuff, some aches and pains, and who's got the mental fortitude to go out there and inflict whoever's will on the other team. And that's left to be seen. I know this. You can't put Lattimore on Tyreek Hill one-on-one. He ain't fast enough to keep up with him.
There's not many who are fast enough.
And Kel, you got the best tight end and the best receiver in football playing for the Chiefs right now. I mean, Kelsey's leading the league in reception yards. He's a tight end. He's leading the league. It's incredible. And I never would have said this, but Kelsey is the 2.0 version of Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez was more going up and jumping, rebounding. He could do some stuff after the catch sometimes, but he was stiffer. He wasn't as athletic. Kelsey is smooth, fluent out the break. He can run. I mean, Kelsey has a chance to go down as the best tight end to ever do it. If he can put it together for another 5 or 4 years, for a little while longer, Kelsey could go down as the best ever at tight end.
So let me ask you this. Who are you rooting for?
You ask me if they meet up in the Super Bowl, I can give you an expectation. It's a regular season. So I'm really not if they meet up in the Super Bowl, I'll give you a prediction.
So you don't have any this week?
I'm not, both teams are having a great year. I would say I think for right now it's more important for the Saints to win this football game. I think Kansas City can. Who is home field going to help more? New Orleans Saints. I think the Chiefs can travel and they can do damage to anybody, anywhere when they get rolling.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. So you look at now the Saints, Brees is back. Let me ask you this. even with little to no fans, even if they have to travel Lambeau, it's probably going to be little fans in that building. So is home really all that important?
Well, it's important because you're dealing with the elements too. You're dealing with the outside elements. You're dealing with the grass. You're not playing inside of the dome. It's a different track. It's a different field that you have to go out and play on. So in that aspect, yes, because of the elements and because you play indoors and used to playing indoors and you're not used to playing outdoors on grass all the time. And you saw what happened to the Saints, when they went to Philly. They had problems out there, and they had problems, part of that because they were outside dealing with the elements. And the last time they went to Philly, they got beat. Did they not? And they got beat in the playoff game in Philly, I think a couple years ago.
Well, actually, they Philly there.
Yeah.
So I just matter. But without the fan, I don't think it matter.
I'm just a little nervous for Drew. I think it's quick. I think you see what's going on with Alex Smith. He's got soreness in that leg, and he proved his point coming back. I just think Paul, it's tough playing football. And they asked me, they said, well, they didn't know Drew Brees was this tough. I mean, the man's he's playing in the National Football League at 41 years old. You don't stay in the National Football League past 40 years old. Jason Peters, 38 years old. And Jason Peters, you see now, Paul, he'll have a good week, and then sometimes he's getting beat out there. You can't be consistent playing week in, week out when you play football that long. It's tough. Your body has to get up and your mind has to get up to be able to do this. I mean, even the great ones, Michael Jordan, when he got 38, you're not the same. It's just Father Time catches up with everybody. I just say, I'm 50 now. What they do have to understand, when you have that type of injury and stuff that Drew is dealing with, when he gets 50 or 55 or whatever, you're going to be feeling that. It's not going away. Your body's going to feel these aches and pains from playing football this long. I'm just telling you, you're going to feel it. It's going to catch up with you sooner or later.
For sure. Drew Brees is a tough guy, man. He's out there with all that working against. Maybe he knows something. I would think at 81, those ribs did it 81. But I mean, they
well, you're gonna heal up. You're gonna heal up faster at 31 than you are at 41, though, Paul.
Right.
You're gonna heal up a little faster. Your body's gonna feel a little better. I wasn't playing sports at 41, and I could still feel it at 41 from retiring at 36. So it took me when I retired, it took a couple years just for your body to start feeling better, for things to balance out, with the cellulitis, for me to get my body right and to do that. That's a work in progress. But, you got other stuff to worry about. You got kids, you got family. Alex Smith, he proved his point. But do I think he should try to come back on that leg after this year? No, I don't think. He's made plenty of money. Well, Alex Smith has made over $100 million. Drew was made upwards of over $250 million. There's a point in time where you gotta move on with your life, go hang out with your kids, play, go work out at the gym, go play flag football, whatever. But playing competitive sports, there's a reason why people don't play competitive sports into their 40s.
So at age 36. I remember before you felt like you playing. You really want to.
I felt, what happened when I tore my hamstring in that offseason when I was trying to run and do stuff on my leg. I felt like my hamstring it was like it was going to pull again. I didn't feel like my legs were right. So that was really the reason I walked away, because the hamstring that I tore and I missed some games and came back and then I missed some more time. I didn't feel like my back was bothering me some, and I didn't feel like my hamstrings were right. And I was afraid of going out there and dealing with that, doing training camp, and then popping a hamstring or doing that again and battling through it all year again. I didn't want to go out there and be battling through an injury. So in my mind, I felt like I couldn't go out there and give it and make sure I could go the whole year. That's what I was more worried about.
So we'll see what happens. The Chiefs very out there in New Orleans. So the team that the Saints last week, the Eagles, Jalen Harden, 17 yards now, ran for another 100. Were you impressed with Jalen Hurts?
I was impressed with Jalen Hurts. I don't understand why the Saints didn't keep contained on him. I mean, he's a great running quarterback. He was a running quarterback in college. They let him get out and run around, and he's got long strides. He's not like Lamar. It looks like he's running fast. It doesn't look like he's running fast, but he is. I don't understand what the game plan was for the Saints defensively, but I thought he played a real good game. They beat the top team in the NFC, so I don't know how you keep him as a starting quarterback.
Yeah, he's going to have to be able to season as the starter, barring an injury. And it should be interesting to see what happens this year, especially with a whole situation with Hurts. And Wentz make a lot of money with a contract and everything. It should be interesting what they do.
Well, they can't do no Wentz. They can't let Wentz go after this year, right? He's got too much money guaranteed. He's not going anywhere.
The following year.
Yeah, he got one more year.
Yeah, so the following year, he got 3 more years, but the following get out. In terms
after 2021. Yeah, he'll be back next year.
Yeah, so he'll be back.
Yeah.
Do you think the Eagles made a mistake bringing Hurts in? Because it's obvious it's not a mess with that situation.
You saying keeping Wentz or putting Hurts in?
So I'm saying draft Hurts and a mess with Wentz situation.
No, I don't think they made a mistake. I think they know some stuff is going on. You know, Hurts has had the knee, the back. He's had a couple issues, and sometimes it takes a little while to bounce back from that. If Wentz can bounce back next year and play better, then we'll see what happens next year. But he's had a tough year. He's had a real tough year this year, and that's going to happen sometime in football. Jared Goff was having a tough year out with the Rams. So, I don't know. It's football, and I mean, even Russell Westbrook was playing great early this year, MVP. The last 5 games, he hasn't thrown for 300 yards in any of the games.
Yeah, Wilson is a little bit.
I mean, Russell Wilson, he's struggling. Yeah, not Russell. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Philadelphia. I mean, you drafted Carson Wentz all that in 2019 and quarterback, and you have a guy who's there 27 years old here.
For them to draft Jalen Hurts, obviously they were worried about Wentz and they were worried about his production. In my eyes, being consistent throughout the year. They want the young boy to play more, and I don't know what you do. Do you rotate Wentz some? Do you not let him play the whole game moving forward? Do you get him out some and make packages for Hurts moving forward in the future? Do you play both of them? I don't know what the solution is, but they need to figure something out and try to tweak it the rest of this year if they're going to do it. But Wentz is still very young. And you got both of them locked up next year. And after that, if Wentz has a down year next year, I think he's gone.
For sure. He could be going there. What happens in the game. It's going to be interesting. See what happens. But I don't. Me, I thought it was Jalen Hurts. He wasn't playing me, but the things that he did, I feel like when not in terms of running, but just overall. I feel like he could do it. I know it was only hurt part, but I wasn't blown away. It wasn't.
You mean with Hurts?
Yes.
You mean the last game?
Yeah, I wasn't blown away.
You're not blown away, but he won the football game, Paul. He won the game, and he was running. He threw the ball. I mean, he's not going to blow you away, but as long as he doesn't turn the ball over and keeps the chains moving.
Yeah,
he can run. He can run. He does more things with his legs than Wentz can do.
For sure.
I totally agree.
I don't think that's
better.
I don't.
But
we'll see what happens.
Well, the bottom line is winning. The bottom line is winning.
For sure.
And
the Eagles had
quarterbacks.
Wentz was off this year, but wasn't playing well. I think to get out of the they had to make the move. But I feel like in some respect might have been a mistake. And we'll see what happens. Let's just say you just hurt. Moving forward, you're able to then Wentz goes around and turns back and wants what? That could be a problem.
Yeah, it could be a problem, but it's not going to be a problem because Wentz is locked up and you still got Hurts on the rookie deal. So it's not. I mean, it's not necessarily a problem. You drafted another quarterback for an insurance policy. You have questions about Hurts. So if Hurts plays well, great, he earns his money. If he doesn't play well, we have an insurance policy to let him go. You let Hurts take over and see what he's doing. Hurts is still on the rookie deal. I'll tell you this. Hurts, they're not going to be as quick to get Hurts a big deal as they gave Wentz. It's not going to happen like that with him. I can tell you that.
Well, let me ask this one. Let's just say you contract. A year later, the team drafts left tackle in the first round. How would the second round? How would you feel in that spot?
As long as I'm playing well, I'm not worried about it. I was in New Orleans when we drafted Kyle Turley. Turley went top 10. They put him at right tackle. They kept me at left. Now, eventually I got hurt and got traded, and they tried to move him to left. He wasn't really a left tackle. And he went to the Rams and played right. So if they draft a kid to play tackle, they can move him around. They don't have to start him off at left tackle. When you draft a quarterback, you got to play him at quarterback unless you plan on switching him to another position.
Right. So you feel like as long as you're playing at level, who cares?
Who cares?
Okay.
You wouldn't. When you get older like Peters, now that I moved him inside the guard, I wouldn't have wanted to do that.
Okay.
I wouldn't have wanted to move from tackle to right guard. And then he was having problems at right guard. He's not used to playing guard. I've never played guard. I played left or right tackle. Now, I could have probably played right tackle, but I wouldn't have wanted to move inside the guard, no.
Okay. I just odd. 27 years old, kind of big time, and then you pick guys. I like, for example, Aaron Rodgers. They drafted well. Aaron Rodgers is 37. Carson Wentz is 27.
But Wentz has had more injuries than Aaron Rodgers. Major injuries.
True.
He's had the knee and he's had the back.
True.
Those are knee, back. Those are two things that can affect your throwing mechanism and your throwing. And if his back, and we don't know how he's feeling physically week to week, he's not going to tell you everything, and the team's not going to tell you everything unless he's not playing. If he's playing and it's nothing serious, you don't know how Wentz is feeling every week. You don't know how his back feels. And the weather in Philly changes all the time. That stuff affects you, Paul. So we really don't know what's going on every week. They know what's going on. The team knows what's going on. The doctors know, but you and I don't know.
Right. And we'll see what happens moving forward. But Hurts was very impressive. Did beat the same. But we'll see what happens. I'm still on that Wentz point in time, but we'll see what happens moving forward. So we look at the picture. Started off 11, 2 straight. Washington, and that Buffalo. Are you concerned about Steelers?
Yeah, I'm getting a little concerned. Yes, they don't run the football. They can't run the football. They want to throw the ball. You got to run the football. So I'm a little concerned about the Steelers with them not being able to run the ball. Dallas should have beat them. They had some games they could have lost, early this year. They got hot. They got lucky. They started 11-0. It reminds me of when we started 9-0-13. We had some flaws. And as the year got later, our flaws got more exposed. And then we got beat in the playoffs.
So do you see a situation happening?
I think it could happen, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Big Ben's older. Big Ben is, he's not going to move around in the pocket as much. They're still a solid football team. I'm concerned because they can't run the football, or they don't run the football.
And they're playing. To your point, when the Steelers were winning games, you felt like they were that team. Yeah, they're 11-0. The Chiefs could beat them at any time. So I wasn't but I wasn't watching the Steelers. Still not.
I haven't seen them play a lot, Paul. I really can't say a lot about them as far as playing. I'm just saying, eventually when you lean on something, you're gonna have to depend on it. I think Hayden's been out, the corner's been out. They've had a couple injuries, the lineman's been out, the tackle, just like the Chiefs, the backup tackle for the Chiefs is out. Michael Thomas is out again. This time of year, Paul, is war nutrition. Who can make it through this stretch run, and then who can be the freshest come playoff time? You got to have all your guys ready to go for the playoffs. So I think that's kind of what the coaches are concerned about, making it through the rest of the year, trying to get a home field or have one of those better seeds and being as fresh as they can be come playoff time now.
Yeah, and definitely. And the Steelers will struggle right now. One team that beat Buffalo Bills playing some good football right now. Allen playing some good football. Buffalo looks like a team that you got to look at in playoff time.
They do, and Buffalo's been making that march for a couple of years now. So I like Josh Allen. I like Buffalo. I like what they do on defense. They play hard. They play sound football. They're gonna be a tough out. Miami's coming too. Miami's a couple years behind Buffalo, but Buffalo's coming. Buffalo could be a team that could be making some noise in the playoffs this year.
For sure. Definitely. Josh Allen definitely grown his game. Playing at a level here for the Buffalo Bills to possibly maybe they can get some trouble come playoff time. Third seed forward. So we'll see what happens. Out of all the teams in the AFC. Which team do you think has the best in your opinion? The Bills, the Titans, the Browns, the Colts. Which team, in your opinion, would have the chance to beat the Kansas City?
I like the Titans because the Titans can run the football.
Right.
If I'm not going with the Titans, the Browns can run the football. They got Chubb and they got Kareem Hunt. That'll be a good matchup. I would say the Titans or the Browns.
Okay. And I feel like a team that can run a lot and run a ball is a team that definitely give the Kansas City trouble because you can if you're running the ball, you can keep that offense off the field. And that's you. You keep that offense off the field. That's you. So
you gotta put pressure on Mahomes with your front four. The only team we really saw do that this year that almost beat them was the Chargers. Now Mahomes has been turning over a little bit. They've been playing a little loosey-goosey. But the problem is they're so talented offensively, they get away with it. They had 3 turnovers in the first quarter against Miami and still scored 30. You know who does that?
Yeah,
exactly.
But
they're that good.
Right, and we talked about the team that run the ball against them. They're 25th. So Cleveland can run the ball. Obviously, can run the ball. Those two teams, yeah, they could have an opportunity the way they run the ball. But that offense is just ridiculous. Like you said, 3 turnovers for 30 points. They put up 30 points.
They put 30. If Mahomes doesn't throw, if Mahomes is like, remember Jordan back in the late, when I was in high school in the late 80s, mid 80s. If Jordan didn't score 30, he was like, he was scoring 40 and 50 and 30 something so much. If Mahomes throws for 300, that's nothing. If he doesn't throw for 350 to 400 yards, it's a bad game for Mahomes.
Right.
He threw 3 picks. Look what his QBR was for the game.
Definitely was low. It definitely was low. So
no, his QBR was still good, right?
Let me check.
No, his QBR was still good, and he threw 3 picks.
So I mean, I guess that's who he is. And how good he is.
That's a testament how good he is, and he gets a little loosey-goosey with it. He reminds me of Steph Curry in basketball. Can be great and then get 3 happy. He's a gunslinger.
For sure.
He's a gunslinger, so.
He's a special player. He's a special player. This dude could be the greatest basketball player.
Yeah. He could go down. I mean, he's already got a Super Bowl ring. You got just like you got 3 you got 3 Hall of Famers on that offense. Him, Tyreek, Kelsey. You got Chris Jones on the defense side of the ball. Potentially could make it to the Hall. But you got 3 guys on that offense that are Hall of Famers.
Yeah, if they can point at this point.
Well, Mahomes is going to be in the Hall. I would say Kelsey's going to the Hall now. So Kelsey is I think he's already knocking on the door for the Hall. 5 straight years with 1,000 yards, leading the NFL in what's called. He's going to have another All-Pro season. So, like I said, I don't know, man. That much talent, the way they can do it with that speed, you get kind of cocky to the point where you think you can get away with everything. And what makes them not think that, Paul? They've only lost 1 game this year. They won the Super Bowl last year. What was their record last year? How many games have they lost in the last 20 games?
I think they were 12 last year.
They were 12-4 last year. And they won the Super Bowl. And they've lost 1 game this year, man. So they really, what are they, in their mind, if I'm like that, in my mind, I'm thinking, Mahomes is thinking, I kind of get away with what I want to get away with because we're that good. That's his thought process.
He's that good. He can do a lot of different things and get away with a lot of different things because he's that good, and his arm strength and his ability to do all the different things, throw from all, with all different type of arm angles. And I mean, it's just crazy.
Across his body. So now, guess what it is now? I want a running mobile quarterback. Remember when I came in the league, there was a lot of D linemen, they were moving to O-line. Now they have O-linemen. Really now, Paul, I want a baseball player and I want to make him a quarterback.
Right.
But he has to be athletic.
Yeah.
Mahomes is an athletic baseball player playing quarterback.
All those different arm angles, all those crazy arm angles. It's crazy, the things that he can do on the football field and his ability to make the plays that he makes. Wow. I mean, it's a special quarterback. And, give credit to Andy Reid. He found him. Andy Reid finds him. whether it's Donovan McNabb, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, even Nick Foles for that matter. So, give Andy Reid some credit in terms of his ability to find.
And as soon as they hired the coach in Kingsbury, the coach who coached Mahomes in college with Arizona, you knew he was taking Kyler Murray because he wanted somebody with a similar skill set to Mahomes, and another guy that's a baseball player, a first round baseball player that's playing quarterback.
Yeah,
smaller than Mahomes, but he's a baseball guy.
And he's another guy with all those different arm angles. He's another guy with those various arm angles and his ability to it's crazy. It's crazy, but you're right. In terms of being a baseball player, it helps because you could do a lot of different. Obviously, you have the arm strength and the arm angles and all those things. Like Patrick Mahomes can make any throw back off his back foot. It's crazy the things that he.
And then you see some of his deep balls. You see some of the deep balls he throws to Tyreek. Most quarterbacks throw them up and they loop down. Sometimes, remember the one against Tampa, he threw to Tyreek. He threw it on a rope to Tyreek, shoot, and it hit him, and it got there so fast the DB didn't even know it was there because it didn't go up and come down like a normal quarterback he would see do it in practice. He threw it on a rope and it got there too fast, and he didn't have time to look around. And they left that poor kid one-on-one with Tyreek, and Tyreek had 200 yards in the first quarter.
Carlton Davis, of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
How bad do you have to feel? This guy's got 200 yards in the first quarter. That's like a tackle giving up 3 sacks in the first quarter.
You ever did that before?
Not in the first quarter, no.
So definitely. That's definitely, a lot of talent, a lot of ability on that ball. And to me, I don't think, I look at the Kansas City Chiefs, and here's the thing about football. One game, anything is possible, anything can happen. So it's not like a series. It's not like the NBA where you have a series. So you always have a shot in the NFL to win a game because it's just one game. But man, we've seen even last year, the comebacks that they had in the playoffs against the Titans. They just had comebacks. The Texans as well. I think they were down 24-0. Came back in that game. Titans, they were down. They came back in that one, and they just made it look easy.
When they came back, they made it look easy. They were down, remember, 14-20. I'm like, the Chiefs are coming. And when the Chiefs got that momentum, I'm like, they finna come back and put them away. And that's just what they did.
Exactly. And they ended up blowing Houston out in that game. It's crazy. They're down 24-0. They ended up blowing them out. So, that's the crazy part about this team. They have, they can make a lot of mistakes and still win because their offense is so good. So good, so much speed. Speed kills, and they got
and Paul, they're doing it with 2 or 3 linemen on there that are backups. Those aren't even starters.
Right.
And that tells you how good Mahomes and those guys are. I don't need you to hold the block for long. Just hold the block a little bit.
Right.
And I will make it happen. That's how good Mahomes is, and that's how good those weapons are. They're banged up on the line, and they still been able to do this.
Yeah. Big time, playing some big time football. Special kids. So we got the Christmas holiday coming up. A week from today, Christmas will be here. How are you going to spend Christmas?
Last year we went to Memphis with the family. We're here, Paul. We got the grandbaby here. We've been on the move. We moved again, Paul.
Okay.
But this is it. We're in the stretch run of our house being done. So we'll be sitting here. Angela, the in-laws are coming from Georgia, from Callaway Garden, from Pine Mountain, Georgia. So we'll be spending time in Florida with the grandbaby and having a good time and watching some good football. It's been a tough year for everybody, but it's almost up. We got a vaccine, and we made it through it in one piece, Paul. It's been it's been a challenging time, but it's a year that helps build character. It's a character year.
For sure. So if you can get through this year, you can get through any year. Right. So we'll see what happens. Christmas is around the corner. 2021 is around the corner. You said there's a vaccine out there. hopefully that does what it's supposed to do and get COVID out the way, and life can go back to the way it used to be. We'll see if that
Are you
happens.
going to take – are you they say take the Pfizer. Don't take the Moderna vaccine.
I ain't taking none of them if I don't have to.
You're not taking that? Well, don't take them. I'm not taking it for a few months. I'll wait.
Yeah.
I'll wait and see if they're inside to see what happens.
If I don't have to take it, I'm not going to take it. So, I mean, if I'm not compelled.
So you're just waiting for everybody else to take it, and then you don't have to worry about it. They say 75% of the country has to take it for you not to worry about the COVID anymore.
I'll trust my immune system on this one. Hopefully it'll come through. To this point, it'll come through. So hopefully it continue to come through and get me to where I want. I don't take the flu shot either. So I'm gonna take my chance.
Angela doesn't take the flu shot. I take the flu shot every year.
Okay. Yeah,
but they say the way this hits your body is a little different way than a normal flu shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my chance with my immune system, see what happens.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll stand up and does what it needs to do, protect me, and then I can live happily ever after. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. But you never can tell with this COVID situation. I mean, it's a very contagious situation, so anything is possible with it. But
when like I said, when it's your time to go, the man upstairs to call you home. It's not your time to go yet.
Yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, if it's your time to go, it's time to go home. It's time to go home. But I'm ready. I'm not ready to go home just yet. Let me stay.
I'm not ready to go either.
Let me stay down here just a tad bit longer. Then we can talk about that.
We're building a house. We're building a nice place. I'm sure not ready to go. I just got married 7 years ago. I'm not ready to go nowhere.
Yeah, you got a lot to do. You still got.
I got grandkids. I just had a few grandkids. I'll be at the gym. I'll be doing some cardio tomorrow. I did have to get a cortisone shot in my knee when it was bothering me. The weather changed, and I was like, "What's going on?" And I went and got the cortisone shot, and it took a little while, but it did help. This is what I'm saying. When you play sports a long time, when you hit 50, what Drew's got to understand, and what Alex has got to understand, with that leg, you're going to have some circulation problems. You might have some cellulitis issues. You're going to have some issues you deal with when you're done playing ball. You want to limit how bad they are as you move forward in life.
I mean, is it possible? I mean, at the end of the day, you look at football as a dangerous, rugged, tough sport. I mean, you're going to come out with some issues. It's just impossible not to, because the body is
impossible.
Yes, the body's not meant to do what you guys do or did throughout the course of your career. It's not meant to do it.
Well, I mean, and the good thing, I took the Toradol shots as I got older. Some guys took a lot of painkillers and stuff like that, and they had problems with their kidneys and their livers. Remember Alonzo Mourning with the kidney from the Henderson. He was taking too much anti-inflammatory. So all this stuff you put in your body, like you said, is not meant to be put in your body, too much of it.
Right. So I don't know, man. I mean, you made it to this point. So the cortisone shot, your knees back and you ready to go out there and
No, I'm ready to go get on the bike at the gym and get on the elliptical. That's what I'm ready to do.
Are you not ready to suit up and?
No, heck no. No, that's over.
But let me ask you. So, let's hypothetically speaking, I mean, at age 40, right? If you had to go, let's just say something happened, you had to play. Could you have done it at age 40?
At age 40, we mean one game?
A season.
I don't know if I could have played a whole season at 40. Maybe 36, 37, yeah.
Okay. All right.
But would I be out there looking like Jason Peters?
Well,
you know what I'm saying? What I mean, so do you okay, I'll ask you this. You saw Jason Peters play when he was playing all pro level.
Big time.
Do you like seeing him out there like this?
Well, no, because he's hurt in the football team. But I will say this: if the check still clears, the 15th and the 30th.
Yeah, but I understand that. Okay, so are you playing for money, or are you playing for the love of the game? I mean, what is your reputation in?
Well,
see, that's where I couldn't. That's where I'm different. I left them and they wanted me to keep playing. I didn't want them kicking me out the door.
But let me ask you this, though. you play football because you were good at it. Obviously, you liked the game, you loved the game. But at the end of the day, it's the way you fed. It was how you were able to feed your family. So yeah, winning rings, going to the Hall of Fame, all that stuff is good. But what is all that stuff if you're broke? You know what I mean? Like what?
It's about it's. So when I tore my knee up and I got traded to Kansas City, I wanted to come back and finish on a good note. It was about business for me. It's about business every year for you. So yeah, it's a give and take in it, but there's also a reputation that you walk away from the game with. And I want to walk away from the game with people saying, dang, Willie was a good player. We miss him. You know, I get comments still, you know, they love watching me play and this and that and everything, which is great. I mean, would it have hurt my reputation to go out there one more year? Probably not on the big scheme of things.
No.
But I just, you know, I just didn't want to do it. Look what happened to Orlando Pace. He went to the Bears that one year.
Right.
You know, it wasn't good. You know, Ogden. You know, Walter was hurt his last year, so he couldn't play. His knee was bothering him anyway. So that was my deal. My deal was, let me go ahead and just if I'm worried about it, then and I'm not really all into it, then I don't need to be out there. Because then you go out there, Paul, and you get hurt.
Right, but I feel like yes, but I feel like at the end of the day, people work to make money. People play football to make money. People play basketball to make money. So yeah, legacy is cool. That's great. You know, reputation, that's cool. That's great. And I'm saying this from an average man. I'm not saying this as an NFL football player, as a Hall of Famer like yourself. I'm saying it as an average man. All that stuff is great. But at the end of the day, if you're a broke legend, that's broke legend. I mean, I'd rather have.
Well, I shouldn't have to pay a 14th year not to be broke. I played 13 years.
Right.
I will say this, and I never said this. If I could have, the Giants wanted me to come out of retirement when I was 37, when they won the ring. If I could have felt good enough and really trained, but I would have had to get Kansas City to release me out of my contract. So if I could have come out, maybe I would have tried. I didn't want to play on that turf grass stuff because I remember my last year we played Dallas and we played the Giants back-to-back. On that turf field, that turf grass stuff.
Field turf.
And I was so sore that last year. I was like, man, I'm hurting after those games for playing on that surface. So that surface, it isn't like turf, but it's harder than grass.
Right.
It affects your body. So if I could have maybe worked out a deal with a team and I'm not practicing all week and they're taking care of me and stuff like that, but they don't normally do that. They want you to practice every day. Now, Bruce Matthews and some of them old school guys, they took care of some of those guys. So it's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts involved. And when I walked away when they got Hearn, and Hearn wasn't practicing the guys as hard. But it's still a grind to go through that season. That's why you see these guys, even Peters, playing football at 37, 38 years old. That's tough on the body. Now they got Doug Peterson is the player's coach. He's a good coach. He takes care of those guys. It's still a hard way. You got to go out there and practice and do everything and go over there every day, mentally and physically, to be able to go do that. So it's still hard.
And ultimately, Peters couldn't get through the season, hurt his toe. He's on IR at this point. So, you know, he couldn't get through the season. He tried, he attempted.
Oh, so he's done.
He's done. He's done.
Well, yeah, and he got his $4 million. And you saw they kept Sproles a year too long, and he got hurt.
Yeah.
And what happens? I don't want to say this about them, but when the coaches, this stuff goes on, now players are saying, well, let me make it through this year and get another check. You know, Jeffrey, some of these guys haven't shown up this year. Deshaun ain't showed up for a couple years.
Injuries.
But he's still making $8 million a year. So
Injuries.
Is it about you playing football or is it about the check? So that's what I'm saying. That's what you got to understand. Now all of them are going to be going after this year. But they got another year and they got that money.
From outside looking in, you know,
So how are you gonna remember them, Paul? Are you gonna remember Peters for what he did on the field? Or are you gonna remember Peters struggled his last couple of years and he struggled and then he got the check, but he wasn't playing at an all-pro level like he was 3 or 4 years ago.
Peters is probably gonna be a Hall of Famer when it's all said.
He's going to the Hall.
So,
but what are you gonna remember him for?
I'm gonna remember him for all the great times, all the great moments, all the great things that he's done. No, I mean I get what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying. But at some point, doesn't that come down to how we let others define us? Like we can be comfortable in our own skin and say, you know what, I tried, I wasn't good enough, but hey, I got paid. So at the end of the day, I'm still living comfortably, no matter what people think about me.
Okay, well, look at it from a boxer's perspective. Ali fought too long. As soon as he walked away from the game, he was shaking and stuff. So was he living comfortably? He made all that money and stuff. He wasn't living comfortably.
He hung on too long.
How many boxers don't walk away when they're supposed to walk away, and they end up getting hurt or something happen, or they end up getting knocked out real bad? Yeah. Floyd did.
Isn't that a little different? Because, football, like in boxing, you don't obviously go in the ring to kill anybody, but you go in the ring to inflict pain and to knock them out. So you knock them out with the hope that they get back up. But that's the goal. But ultimately, if you keep getting knocked out, eventually it's going to have to take a toll. Football, you do try to inflict pain, but you're not really trying to hurt anybody. You're not getting punched in the face. Well, you kind of are in some respect. Not necessarily, but you kind of are in some respect. But I don't know, slightly different to me. But I don't know, if you play a little longer in terms of maybe you hurt your knee, but you still might have your faculties and whatnot. A boxer, if they go too long, there's a chance they lose all their faculties, and then they can't do anything at that point. So
it's a tough, finishing your career in the way you want to finish it and it's tough, especially when you've been a real good player. These issues, the stuff you're talking about, are very touchy, and different guys have different opinions about it. Would I have liked to go on out there and win one more year? Yeah, I would have liked to. Really more for the money than for the love of the game. It was more, I like to go out here and see if we can win. They made it to the playoffs the next year. They went 9-7. They went to Indianapolis and got beat. But would it have been better to go out there one more year? Yeah, financially it would have been. But football-wise, could I have done anything to increase my career? No. The only thing that could have made my career better was getting it deeper in the playoffs. Now, if I went to one more Pro Bowl, I would have had the most Pro Bowls with left tackles. Because we're all at 11. Me, Munoz, and Ogden all have 11. So I could have broken that. Joe Thomas walked away. You saw Joe Thomas got hurt his tricep. He didn't even hurt his knee, and he just walked away. He had 10 Pro Bowls in a row, and he just quit.
But so you're talking about, so you could have played the Giants Super Bowl season or the year after that one?
No, they wanted me to come back the Super Bowl season. They wanted me and Al Wilson to come on that team.
So any regrets that you didn't go through the process?
Well, I couldn't. I would have had to try to come out of retirement. I would have had to talk to Chiefs into trading me. And then I would have pissed off a lot of people in Kansas City.
Okay.
If I had tried to force that trade to go back to go to the Giants, then I would have had to go out there and play football all year for that team. So it was, it was a lot of ifs there.
Right. Yeah, that probably would have pissed off the Chiefs fan base.
And then what if I come out of retirement and then, Willie Roaf's coming to the Giants. Willie Roaf, look how good he was in Kansas City. He's coming here. And what if I go up there and I can't play anymore? Then it's making me look bad. I'm going to New York. So
yeah, but you still got the check. This check still cashes on the 15th and the 30th.
The check cashes, but what about your reputation?
Yeah, but you've done enough where your reputation, your legacy was secured. When you walked away, your legacy was secured. So your legacy was already secure. Like Michael Jordan, right? When Michael Jordan came back, his legacy was already secure. So he was just this bonus hour, pretty much for
Michael Jordan had 6 rings. We're talking about Michael Jordan.
No, but I'm saying at the same time, it was still bonus for him. So no matter what happened, who cares? And then I think, and same with you, and I know offensive line is a little different in that respect. People only really care about them unless you're giving up sacks for the most part. So, but if we look at you in terms of if you would have came back, A, you could have got a Super Bowl ring, something you didn't get. And B, you could have made a little extra more, a little bit more money. Maybe
I'd have made a lot more money.
Maybe the Chiefs faithful would have been mad at you. But
they're very mad.
Who cares?
And guess what? Guess what happened now? I wouldn't be doing interviews and talking to these Chiefs fans and doing all. I wouldn't have to love the Kansas City I got now if I had done that. Well, I will say this. I didn't go to Tennessee. I had a heck of a career. And nothing against him. He's a good guy. But I wasn't like Antonio Davis, the guy y'all drafted to Philly. I watched Antonio Davis and them guys hold out. Charles, the guy from Tennessee. And then I watched Antonio Davis play Monday Night Football against Charles Mann. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Okay.
He got eaten alive. And he
never was the same again.
He ended up
he missed training camp.
He ended up having an okay career. It wasn't
career, but everybody remembered him from the Charles Mann game.
Right. But
that's what set the tone for his career.
But isn't that
Monday night game?
Yeah, but isn't that the nature of the position? It's just, I won't say it's just like a kicker, but we only really care about the kickers when they're missing. We really only care about the left tackle when they're giving up sacks. But at the end of the day,
you're right. And so I was worried about giving up sacks and getting beat. And for me, mentally, if my body didn't feel well, I didn't want to get out there and I didn't want to get beat. I couldn't handle going through the season and me knowing I should be doing something and I can't do it anymore and I'm getting beat out here. But I got to go out here and play.
But
I didn't want to do that.
But isn't that ego? So could
we can call it what we want to call it, Paul. I didn't want to do it. I wasn't going to do it.
Could you set ego aside for a couple minutes?
I couldn't do it. I would have played.
I mean, money isn't everything. I totally agree with that at the end.
I mean, we're pretty comfortable, so I'm not worried about that.
I understand that part, but we're talking about generational.
Well, Paul, I'm 50 now. It doesn't matter. I'm 50 now. All that's over. Football's over for me. It's over. I can't go back and do it. I walked away. I can't do it over. It's over.
So let's.
You're asking me hypotheticals. I really can't answer.
Well, let's do that.
I walked away. My wife understands why I walked away. I was picked the top player on the Chiefs offense my last year. So I walked away with Tony Gonzalez and all them guys. The Chiefs fans voted me their top player on offense because of what I did when I came back and played. I'll take that. and I made second team All Pro my last year. In year 13, I'll take that.
Okay.
I doubt if I made All Pro my 14th year, and I doubt I would have made it through the season, and I would have been maybe like Peters.
With a ring, you would have got a ring.
Well, he got a ring a few years ago. I wouldn't have got a ring in Kansas City. No, we not have got a ring in Kansas City.
If you went to the Giants,
and then what happened? What happened to Trent Green not long after I retired?
Is that when he got hurt?
Yeah, that's when the Cincinnati came in and cold cocked him.
Okay. All right.
And they blamed me for that.
I mean, that's
they said if Willie was out there, maybe he would have got cold cocked. I'm not out there no more.
At the end of the day, you got to do what you feel is the right thing to do, and whatever that is.
Right. At the end of the day, I walked away when I walked away. We don't have to worry about talking about that no more. It's 15 years later.
Exactly.
And I can watch and I can come over here and talk with you and I can watch and have fun.
Exactly.
And I don't have to worry about my mind mentally getting ready to do that every year.
Exactly. Life is short. And, obviously playing football does take years off your life. And
years.
Yes. It's better.
And so, Paul, think about this, Paul. My body's going through some stuff, right? And I'm working it out. Since I've had to retire, I've gone through stuff physically, right? What about the damage I do if I go back there and do it one more year? How much more damage do I do to my body for the long term of the rest of my life?
That's true. It's always better to leave too soon than it is too late.
Well, I didn't leave that much too soon. I left a year too soon.
Well,
if you want to say I left too soon, I left maybe one more year I could have went out there and tried.
Too soon, but you could argue that you left something on the table. You left a little something on
A little bit, yeah. A little bit I left on the table. You're right.
Yeah, so, I mean.
But that little bit is helping me now in life.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're fine. You're good. You're comfortable. Life is great. You got a new house coming. I mean, so you're living your best life. You got grandkids. You got all your faculties. Needs.
I got my faculties. I'm not walking around here in a wheelchair with my wife pushing me around.
Exactly.
And I don't want that happening for the next 20 years. How about that?
Your knee might get a little stiff.
And she don't want that either. I can tell you that. My wife does not want to be pushing me around. She would be struggling pushing my big old butt around. So she does not want that, and I don't want that.
Well, yeah, no one wants that for sure. No one wants that, but it is, richer or poor, sickness and health, so it is.
You're right. All that.
So that's what she signed up for. That's what they signed up for.
That's what we both signed up for.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're big,
but let's have a little more health and a little more sickness. How about that?
For sure. But if you're big behind, got to get in the wheelchair, she got to push it. Somebody got.
If I got to get in there, no. If my big behind, I need to get in one of them tall stand-up walkers, and I can walk myself until I got to get in the wheelchair. Let's hold off on the wheelchair for a long time.
For sure. Let's hope none of that happens. I mean, 2021's coming, man. You beat COVID, so you're still here. So you got a purpose. You got some things that you need to handle, some things that you need to do. So go get it in 2021 and beyond, man. So pleasure as always. Enjoy your
Christmas. Thank Paul. Have a good Christmas. Merry New Year.
Let's do it again. Take care. Hall of Famer Willie Roaf. Pleasure talking to him. Tried to get him to stick. We wanted him to stick around one more year and get your paper. Get that another year of money. I mean, and I get what he's saying. At the end of the day, legacy, reputation, all that stuff is more important than money. But at the end of the day, at the same time, if you are trying to push past maybe what you think your limits are, that's a good thing as well. I mean, because we all have what we think we can do, and then at the end of the day, there's things that we can do. So we people, or sometimes our own self, we put limits on ourselves. We put limits on the things that we can do. We say we can't do this. We say we can't do that. But if we push forth and push further, we end up doing the things that we say we couldn't do. So, yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about that. And as we go into 2021, we should have that mindset to try to push through and do things that we never thought we could imagine doing. And that's life, man. We just do the best we can. We got a few more things to get to before we get out of here. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he signed the Supermax deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. So he's going to be in Milwaukee for at least 5 years at this point. 5 years, an NBA record, $228 million. So that's a lot of money. And that's money that can feed generations and generations of Antetokounmpos. So that's a good thing for Giannis to get all that money, get all that paper, and live happily ever after. But he is in Milwaukee, and Milwaukee. I've been to Milwaukee before. It's not the greatest of places, but hey, it is what it is. It's a decent city, I guess. It's not a place I would want to live, but hey, when you have $228 million, you can make any place as beautiful as you want to make it. It's that simple. So he's in Milwaukee. He's going to be there for the duration, and hopefully for him, he can bring a championship to Milwaukee. But if he would have left Milwaukee, that would have been the death knell into this franchise at this point in time. It would take a long time for the Milwaukee Bucks to get back to this level with Giannis if Giannis would have left and walked out. But, they have a team that still can compete for a championship. The Milwaukee Bucks can compete with a championship with Giannis, with Chris Middleton, with Drew Holiday. This is a championship caliber team, the Milwaukee Bucks, and they're a team that I think can push through and get to the NBA Finals. So Giannis is in a winning situation in Milwaukee, and he decided, hey, I can make the most money here, so let me go get my paper. He got his paper. He's with the Milwaukee Bucks, and he's going to be there for at least 4 to 5 years. So we look at James Harden now. James Harden, the whole situation with Harden, he was asked, like, James, what were you doing in Las Vegas and Atlanta while your team was at training camp? James Harden said he was training. That's what he said, so I had to take his word for it. But Harden right now is on the trading block. He said at the press conference 2 days ago when he spoke to the media, I am focused on being here in Houston. That's what he says. So we have to believe him in some respects. I don't know how much I believe him, but we have to believe him. But there are reports out there that the Rockets are looking, talking to Philadelphia. Apparently a report out there that Ben Simmons will be or could be made available in a trade for James Harden. So that is something we have to look at. Harden for Ben Simmons maybe and other pieces involved. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe Miami can get into it in terms of getting a James Harden. Brooklyn. Maybe Brooklyn can find a way to get into the mix when it comes to James Harden as well. But it's clear James Harden probably doesn't want to. You saw him with that press conference. He looked totally uncomfortable. He didn't really want to be there. It was clear that he didn't want to be there at that press conference answering those questions. And it's clear that, he definitely probably wants out. And if you're Houston, the reports, there's multiple reports out there. Houston at one point were saying, we're going to try to go to battle with James Harden, and that's that. And now there are reports out there they're looking to trade him. But I think if you can get a Ben Simmons and a deal for James Harden, you do it. I think if you're the Sixers, I go back and forth with this. At one point, I was like, okay, yes, let's do it. Harden for Ben Simmons, why not? Let's do it. The Sixers need a guy that can be an elite player off the dribble. The Rockets get a guy in Ben Simmons who can do a lot of different things, and as a guy, it's definitely a piece, definitely a key piece to a team. So yeah, that would be a good move for both basketball teams, I think. But I go back and forth with it. I go back and forth. But Harden obviously is going to leave Houston, so it's just a matter of whether he goes to Brooklyn, whether he goes to Philadelphia, maybe even Miami. But I think it's going to come down to those three teams. Now, this is the NBA, so you might have another team that just swoops in and come grab him. They might come and swoop in and come grab him. Like when Kawhi Leonard, when Toronto got him from San Antonio, that was you didn't necessarily expect that to happen. You didn't expect Kawhi because, the talk was Kawhi wanted to go to a Los Angeles or a place like that. But you didn't expect Toronto to swoop in and ultimately acquire Kawhi Leonard for DeRozan. And ultimately they won an NBA title because of it. So the thing about it is this. Wherever Harden goes, if he goes to Brooklyn, it's going to be very difficult to beat the Brooklyn Nets. If he goes to Philadelphia, and this is what I struggle with, because if I replace Harden with Ben Simmons, here's the beauty of a Ben Simmons. And I'm not opposed to the deal, but here's the beauty of Ben Simmons. He allows you to do a lot of different things on the court because of his versatility. He's 6'10", can guard multiple positions. So he has a lot of versatility, which allows you to do which allows you to be very versatile. And allows you to put a Steph Curry on the court or Danny Green on the court at the same time. Allows you to do those different things because of his height and his ability to guard multiple positions, right? So if you get rid of Ben Simmons and acquire James Harden, defensively you're gonna dip a little bit. You're definitely gonna take a dip on the defensive end of the basketball court. And I'm not saying James Harden coming to Philadelphia automatically wins you an NBA title. James Harden going to Brooklyn gives you a very, 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 very good chance to win an NBA title. You could probably say that the Brooklyn Nets would be one of the favorites to win a title if they get James Harden. James Harden to Miami. They can keep Jimmy Butler and keep Bam and get rid of whoever else in terms of that to get James Harden. That's huge. Now, if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, you can find a way to get get James Harden without giving up Ben Simmons. Man, oh man, oh man. If you can find a way to do that, it would be a Christmas miracle. But if you can find a way to do that where you can put a package around a Tobias Harris maybe and maybe a Matisse Thybulle, and obviously a boatload of picks and things of that nature. If you can find a way to do something like that, man, then to me, Philadelphia automatically would be one of the favorites to me. Because Philadelphia, I said this numerous times, but Philadelphia is missing an elite player off the dribble. But if you can keep Ben Simmons and his versatility, and then you have a James Harden there, a guy who's an elite player off the dribble, my goodness. It would be crazy time for the Philadelphia 76ers, and it would give them an opportunity, a chance to win an NBA title. The way the Sixers are presently constructed right now, are they a contender? Yeah, they are to some degree, but I still think they're missing that elite guy off the dribble. And I said this before, I'll say it again. If you look at the four teams who were in the conference finals last year, You look at LeBron and the Lakers. LeBron's an elite guy off the dribble, right? Anthony Davis can do some things off the dribble as well, but LeBron's an elite guy off the dribble, okay? So that's that. You had Denver. Jamal Murray's an elite guy off the dribble, right? You look at the East. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, those guys. Kemba Walker, those guys. Elite guys off the dribble, right? Miami, Jimmy Butler, elite guy off the dribble. So the point I'm trying to make is I believe you need an elite guy off the dribble to put you in position to win an NBA title. And at this point, Philadelphia doesn't have it. They had it when they had Jimmy Butler there. They don't have it now. So that's an issue. That's a problem. And I think it could be one of the things that holds Philadelphia back in terms of winning an NBA title. Because, again, the window for Philadelphia, we can say, well, Simmons is 25 and, Embiid is still fairly young as well. But do you trust that Embiid can stay healthy enough? Embiid is 26, Simmons 25. Do you trust that Embiid can stay healthy enough to win an NBA title? Do you feel like Embiid is committed enough to win an NBA title? There's a lot of questions when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm not sure Embiid is committed enough to win an NBA title. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure Ben Simmons is committed enough to growing his game to a point where he can. And I know Doc Rivers says, well, it's not about the shooting. That's not really all that important, but it is. And I get why Doc is saying what he's saying. But shooting is important. It's important to be able to shoot. And I think, Ben, I don't know if the guy can even do a pull-up jump shot. It's just his offensive game is so awkward. It's an awkward offensive game. The guy doesn't really go too strong to the cup unless he's dunking the basketball. He doesn't really have a floater per se. So his offensive game is crude. It's still a little raw, right? But his defense is big time. He's a big time distributor, and he can do a lot of various different things on the basketball court. So yeah, I get it. Ben Simmons is an all-star, multiple-time all-star. He's a very good player. But can he get to that next level? And I feel like you can win with Simmons and Embiid. You just need another dude who is a lead off the dribble. And that's what Jimmy Butler gave that team. We'll see what happens, man, moving forward with the NBA. NBA gets started next Wednesday, December 23rd. The NBA season is back. Just ended, but it's back, and that's a beautiful thing. You got basketball again. Can't wait. You got a lot of different storylines. The Clippers, Kawhi, and Paul George, can they put it together to win a championship? The Lakers, can they do it again? Seemingly the Lakers got better. So can they do it again? Denver, can they take that next step? Dallas is an interesting team out there in the Western Conference with Luka and Porzingis. We look at the East, obviously KD, Kyrie, and Brooklyn. You got that situation to talk about there. Obviously, if KD is KD and Kyrie is Kyrie, there's going to be a problem. Philadelphia's in the mix. Boston's in the mix. Miami's in the mix. Milwaukee's big time in the mix. And then we got Barkley, who said to Kyrie, well, just be quiet. You're trying to sound like you're smart. I know you're not talking to the media this year, things of that nature. And Kyrie is Kyrie. But I do think, you have an obligation as an NBA player, as an NFL player, to talk to the media, because at the end of the day, they're responsible. They're all part of trying to help grow the game. So in some respect, you're doing by talking to the media, first of all, it's your job, but by talking to the media, you're helping to grow this game, which helps you make a lot of money and live happily ever after. So, in terms of Kyrie not talking to the media, I know he did talk the other day, but at some point, it is what it is. I get it, man, but come on, it's your job. So unless you want to get a new job, you got to talk to the media. It comes with the territory. I want to thank everybody for listening. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, like us on Facebook. So make sure to subscribe on YouTube, like us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and support the movement, GoForItRadio.com. For everybody here at Go For It Radio, hopefully you have a great Christmas. We won't be back until after the new year. So hopefully you have a great Christmas. Hopefully you enjoy that. Hopefully you have a safe and prosperous and productive new year. And hopefully 2021 will be everything that your heart desires. See you later. Take care.